They say you make your bed. You lie in it, but what happens when someone else builds your bed on your land? Imagine waking up one morning to find 110 brand new homes, paved streets, and mailboxes springing up on property you thought was untouched wilderness. That's exactly what happened to me in rural Texas. And when it comes to real estate gone terribly wrong, this story has it all. Legal drama, a flood of biblical proportions, and the sweetest payback you've ever seen. Stick around, because by the end, you'll learn why you should never ever build on the wrong lot. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy to go viral over a war with an HOA. But when you build 110 homes on someone else's land, something's bound to happen. Let me take you back 6 months. I own a 40-acre stretch of undeveloped land out in rural Texas. It's been in my family for generations. No fences, no private property signs, just raw, open space as far as the eye could see. This was my sanctuary, the place I planned to hunt deer with my dad and teach my kids to fish. Then I got that call. "Hey man," my buddy in construction said, voice crackling over the cell. "Why didn't you tell me you were building a subdivision?" I laughed hard. "What subdivision?" I replied. He sent me photos, dozens of newly built homes, neat paved streets, even mailboxes with little American flags and freshly planted sod. I nearly dropped my phone. My heart raced. I jumped in my truck and tore down the dirt road to my property. And sure enough, there it was. 110 brand new homes, sidewalks, street signs, every bit of it on my land. Turns out, the local HOA Crestview Highlands had simply misread the GPS coordinates. Their contractor built the entire subdivision on the wrong parcel. The parcel my family has owned since the 1960s. They poured millions of dollars into development, roads, utilities, landscaping all on my dirt. I called my lawyer that afternoon. The HOA president, a smug woman named Carol, I'll get to her, tried to gaslight me on the spot. "This development has municipal approval," she insisted. "We followed all proper procedures." I calmly replied, "Lady, I pay the property taxes on these 40 acres for the last 20 years. You want to build here, you deal with it." We filed suit immediately. While the legal battle dragged on, I refused to sell an inch. My stand was simple: you built it, you fix it. But Mother Nature had her own plans. One night, the NWS issued a flash flood warning for our county. The next morning, we discovered a 1 in 100-year flood had rolled through that empty field that used to soak up rain. It was a natural floodplain. FEMA maps had flagged it years ago. But guess what? The HOA and their builder never checked. No retention ponds, no elevated foundations. The water hit like a tidal wave. Streets turned into rivers. Cars afloat like logs. Foundations cracked and sank. Families clung to rooftops, awaiting rescue by boat. And their insurance, guess who denied their claims? The insurers. Because those homes weren't supposed to be there in the first place. I stood up on my natural hilltop, watching it unfold. In that moment, it felt like the land itself was fighting back, defending its rightful owner. Fast forward 2 months. The HOA is bankrupt. The president resigned in disgrace. And the builders are being sued for negligence. As for me, I got my land back, cleared off, cleaned up, and with the court ruling in my favor. Sometimes nature moves faster than the courts. Moral of the story: don't steal land, especially in Texas, because the land always remembers who it belongs to. Detailed breakdown and expansion. Calm before the storm. It was a quiet morning, one of those days where the only sound is crickets and wind through the mesquite. My truck's tires crunched on the gravel drive as I came out to check the property line. No signs, no fences, just endless sky and tall grass that swayed like an ocean. That's the kind of freedom a city kid craves. It's what kept me going through my rat race years. My granddad bought this chunk in '61, and every summer we'd camp out here, fish in a creek that's since gone dry, hunt up under the October sun. When I closed on the title, I felt like the luckiest man alive. No mortgage, no HOA, no rules. Beyond county regs, I had plans: hunting cabins, fishing ponds, maybe a wildlife restoration project. Absolutely zero footprints beyond my own boot tracks. The call that changed everything. The call came from Donnie, my guy in construction. "Dude, are you building out here?" he asked, voice echoing through crackly reception. "I swear you gotta see this." He texted photos, houses, freshly poured sidewalks, street lamps lining the cul-de-sac. My brain short-circuited. "Stop messing with me," I texted back. "This land is mine. No way someone built on it." But there was buyers moving in, mailboxes with flags, kids begging their parents to let them ride bikes on the new streets. I jumped in my truck, phone in one hand, coffee in the other, heart pounding. By the time I crested that hill, the entire neighborhood was sprawled across my fields. I killed the engine and just stared. 30 seconds felt like an eternity. There were houses 110 right in my backyard. Trees uprooted, roads paved, paint drying on front doors. My property had become someone else's home. Enter Carol, the smug HOA presidential. Wouldn't help if I never confronted them. I dialed the HOA number. A woman answered in a clipped tone. Crestview Highlands Homeowners Association. I introduced myself. This is Michael Chen. I own the parcel east of your development. Excuse me, came the incredulous reply. Carol introduced herself. Carol Whitman, HOA president. Her tone practically dripping with condescension. She claimed the entire project had municipal approval and insisted that any dispute was between me and the county or city. Our contractor followed all the rules. She said, "You must be mistaken." Mistaken? My taxes, my deed, my family name on every page of the county roll. When I mentioned that, her voice turned frosty. "We're retaining a surveyor," she stated, as if I hadn't done my homework, "until we sort this out. No need for hostility." Hostility? She built my future retirement cottages without a by your leave. I hung up, furious. The next morning, I walked the boundary line with my lawyer, maps in hand, staking out the exact corners. Every survey marker, every deed description of my land, plain as day. Legal storm brewing, he filed suit immediately required title action to clear any cloud on my ownership. The whole responded with a countersuit, claiming estoppel, adverse possession. And get this, promissory estoppel, because they'd invested so much in good faith. I laughed when my lawyer explained a fancy legalese. They essentially claimed you promised to give them your land by not stopping them sooner. I refused settlement offers. They begged me to negotiate. "We'll pay you $2 million for the lot." Carol offered one afternoon. I replied, "Build it on your own money, you built it on mine." The case dragged on in dusty courtrooms, each hearing added bills my lawyer's fees. There's expert witness depositions for surveyors and municipal authorities. But I felt vindicated. The more Carol tried to strong-arm me, the more determined I became. The flood of biblical proportions, then the rain came. Not a drizzle, but a deluge. The NWS warned of severe thunderstorms, and I smirked. I'd seen worse. But that night, the skies opened like someone ripped the vault doors in heaven. Rain didn't let up for hours. By dawn, my property turned into a swamp. But the whole development was worse, built on the natural floodplain. The paving and grading changed every runoff path, no drainage, no retention. I watched from my hilltop as floodwaters covered streets, street signs submerged halfway. Front porches awash, families stranded on rooftops demanding rescue. Rescue boats came, helicopters buzzed. Firefighters slogged through chest-deep water. By the time it abated, foundations had collapsed, walls buckled, drywalls the color of mud. A tragedy, but also poetic justice, nature reclaiming its ground. I walked through the aftermath that afternoon. All 110 homes gone, concrete slabs cracked, streets hollowed out. The only footprints were mine and the first responders. Insurance blues. And bankrupts, I would think insurance would cover that 300-year flood. Right? Wrong. The policies excluded floodplain losses. They denied claims, citing ineligible location and non-compliance with elevation requirements. The HOA has coffers drained in legal defenses, payouts, and emergency repairs. Within weeks, they filed Chapter 11. Carol resigned under pressure. No one wanted a bankrupt HOA president. The board scrambled to salvage what's left. They tried rezoning appeals and government grants for flood relief. But the judge had bigger plans. Court ordered liquidation of assets, with proceeds returning to my land's rightful use, nature's. Justice versus man's court standing on that bluff, surveying the ruined neighborhood. I felt a vindication deeper than any court award. Courts take years, appeals, and appeals of appeals. Nature did it overnight. My lawyer began sealing the final verdict. Clear title reaffirmed, HOA liabilities extinguished, and a clean ruling that put every nickel back in my pocket. The builders' local big shots faced negligent suits for building where they shouldn't, misrepresentation, and breach of warranty. All my land was cleared, ready for ranching or whatever I decide next. Lessons learned and final thoughts. So, what's the takeaway? If you're in Texas and someone builds on your land, especially someone's HOA-owned despair, document everything. Hire a good surveyor. Stake your claim, and sometimes you let nature do the heavy lifting. Don't steal land. Don't misread the GPS. And always respect the floodplain dot, because in the end, the land remembers asterisk